The reality is that, as Ken Godfrey pointed out, with 10 EU countries where democracy is, let's be polite, suspect, we are living in very challenging times when it comes to democracy. Authoritarian leaders are increasing, as he pointed out. Democracies are crumbling, especially the weaker ones. And the liberal democracy that we thought we were promoting across the EU is under threat. I welcomed the Commissioner's points when she talked about structural dialogue. If she was here, I would have pointed out that social partnership in large part still excludes many of the civil society organisations, and we found that out in the Conference of the Future of Europe. But I would welcome her support to ensure that these organisations get more support and recognition, and that they are not seen as public enemies, to quote her this morning. And in some democracies, civil society organisations are seen as public enemies, and that's even in the good democracies. So when we talk about democracy, participative democracy and electoral democracy, and no doubt in the next year we will learn that we must work in partnership in the elections, and we will. But let us be clear. It is time for politicians on the political side of the participative democracy to acknowledge, at least in partnership, our role. And in those countries that Ken mentioned, to stop prosecuting or persecuting those organisations. If you want us to support the democratic principles, then acknowledge we exist and allow us the independence to represent the voiceless, in many cases, that we speak. My colleagues mentioned that you need civil society organisations to implement change. We are facing some of the great changes in our society, like green transition. Do you really seriously think this can be achieved without the work of civil society organisations? I'm afraid some governments think we can, and they are failing in their goals, and they are failing miserably. Václav Havel wrote, "Without free, self-respecting, autonomous citizens, there can be no free, independent nations." Can we at least take that quotation seriously? And can we stop, as Ken was pointing out, persecuting civil society organisations? So this resolution, and I was reminded yesterday by my predecessor and predecessor of President, Luca Jair, this is consistent with papers we have presented before. So I would ask you, the members, in the organisations that you represent, across all of the three groups, and I would ask civil society generally and the Commission to turn into action the great words we heard from the Commissioner this morning, from the Vice President this morning. And that is actively support civil society organisations, listen to them, and particularly those who are representing the voiceless in our society, give them the resources, because they don't have it, and therefore are left aside along with the voiceless they represent. So finally, in this resolution, can I ask your full support? And I'm sure as a House we will pursue implementing the points in this resolution so that we deliver a properly recognised civil society rather than the one that is often taken for granted. Thank you very much.